And we can call meeting to order at 5:01. We don't, I feel like I ask this every single time, but we don't need to approve meeting minutes.
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Just if there's any amendments to it, just let me know.
I do not have any amendments. Michelle, did you say?
No.
No. Okay. Excellent. Then we'll get started on EFC. This is one of the few I actually didn't have any comments on. I went to the first. This one is the free and reduced price meals. Is this just because it's up for us to review? Okay, I was gonna say, I didn't see any changes.
I'm assuming with all of these.
Yeah, because the majority of these were in 2015. We're just systematically going through.
Okay.
I didn't have anything.
And I think we're probably good to push that one.
Okay.
Next one up is the vending machines. It's EFE. I did actually have a couple of questions on this one as I started reading through it. How many vending machines do we have and at which schools?
Oh, that's a good question, Alice. So I know that we have 2 at the middle school,
Okay.
one by the gymnasium, and one in the CAD.
Okay.
And then at the high school, we have, I want to say 2 as well, 2 or 3.
Okay. I just had a couple of things because we are referencing a couple of different policies in here. We actually go back to the wellness policy, the JLCF. In line 4, we talk about encouraging students in good eating habits. I am wondering if we can change that to promote healthy food and beverage choices for all students so that it's in line with that wellness policy.
Sure.
It just, the same verbiage, it'll
Say that again. To
promote healthy food and beverage choices for all students. That's the verbiage that we have in the wellness policy, and it just, consistency.
promote healthy food and beverage choices for all students.
Yes. There's also, I had one. I had one other, and I just need to find the line that it correlates to because I didn't write it down. Oh, on line 9, it talks about the lines 8 and 9. It says the service and sale of all food and beverages to students during school hours will be under the control of the school food service department. Can we change that to something like overseen by?
Sure.
Control.
Yeah, that just. Sorry, I guess I'm not done. I have a couple more questions.
Well, I'd like to know what non-food vending
That was one of my
machines are.
questions.
Beverages. Oh, I'm sorry. We have like a pencil dispenser
We do?
in the main office at the high school, because I asked the same question.
Oh,
And
okay.
do people pay for that?
If they need a pencil.
Huh,
Could have just gone to my son, picked up
okay.
pencils that we have.
But that's something that, you know, if you put
I
a,
didn't know that that existed.
But why does it really only operate after the last school bell and stop at midnight? Like, why would you want a pencil at 3 o'clock?
probably not.
I mean, maybe that one should operate during the day, right? Like,
I also think that,
I'm right. That's what they should be operating.
I would say that also might include our beverage machines, vending
Okay.
machines, because we have machines that only distribute beverages, aren't food products in there.
maybe we could say all beverage, because wouldn't we want the pencil thing to be, I mean, I would like students to be able to buy a pencil if they need
I
one.
feel like food and beverage need to be categorized together, and then
Right.
any other ones, pencil dispensers, anything like that, maybe should be its own.
I've never really paid attention. What's in our vending machine for, is it soda or is it just water?
No, that's, mostly waters, vitamin water as well, not sodas.
So is there a reason why it can't be used during the school day?
I don't believe so. I personally think kids should be able to eat and
Right.
drink whenever they want.
If there's nothing in there that's harmful, like,
Yeah.
I agree. I don't know why.
I'd rather my daughter go buy a water if she needs to.
The other thing is, I don't think it links, or it says see policy ECEA. I don't think that policy exists.
Did you check that?
I looked.
So scrap that?
Yeah, I didn't know what it was referring to, because all it says is see policy ECEA at the end there. So I didn't know what it was referring back to, and if we should talk about something else, maybe potentially, if we're not actually linking back to another policy.
Is that because it's the school sponsor? So it looks like our vending machines are sponsored by student activities.
That's what it is.
Well, no, but this says
Let's see.
school's internal student activities fund for the school-sponsored organization that operates the vending machine. So we could have drama doing one, and I'm making this up, I have no idea. Or
So did you want to add that, Michelle?
no, that's in there, so I'm trying to figure out if the problem would be is if the school-sponsored activity or that group, we wouldn't want them to sell during the day because all sale of food and beverages during school hours are under control of, or under the, whatever we're changing it to. The food services.
Right.
So.
Funding goes to food services.
Right, so after 3 o'clock, it turns over to,
But then, yeah, so there'd be no way. How do you decide
I
who
would-
Right.
sponsors
how would that
the vending
determine?
machine? Okay, I think we have questions.
Table it. This is a
Okay.
good one for Debbie, who oversees our food service department.
Perfect.
Okay, great. Then we will table this for Debbie and
Did you have other questions too?
actually that was all
Online.
on that one.
Yeah.
All right, so the next one is EGA, Communication Services, Computer Systems and Internet Access. I just had a couple of things in here, like in line 7, where it's parents and guardians are ultimately responsible for setting and conveying standards that their children should follow when using the internet. Each family's right to decide whether to allow their child to apply for access shall be respected. I feel like when we're talking about, when we're in our policy, it should be convey standards that their children should follow when using the internet from a Shaker Regional School District device.
Good.
Because we can't really write a policy about
What?
use, about what parents do for their children otherwise. And then on line 20, I would like to take out the word private. So it's, we're talking about the computers as private property of the Shaker Regional School District. I don't know if they're necessarily private property because we are handing them out to students.
Sure.
That was all I had.
So move that one forward to the board for
Yeah.
first reading.
The next one is personally owned network communication device. The only thing I had here is that we don't define BYOD. I feel like we should do that since we only refer to it once. Just bring your own device.
And you can see here, there's some suggestions for some amendments as well.
Yeah.
Just for our current.
So that we don't have to update anytime we update the name of the guest wireless.
And is this like when I go to a basketball game type of thing? What is it, is it the same for students' personally owned communication device?
To come in and access our network, something that we don't, that would have to go into guest because our network doesn't pick up their device. So they can only log in on the guest, however, they all have their own devices.
No, I'm saying a student who, say, might need it for an IEP or 504.
We would set them up so that they have access to the phone on the guest network.
Right, but on that student's device, if that's what the team determined.
If the team determined, yeah, we give them the accommodation. And everything.
Right, but I'm saying we don't have to put that in there because we accommodate that and waive whatever.
Yes.
And then I had questions about 9 and 10. Because if a student is at a basketball game or robotics or any other after school, can they just get on our network? Because I don't think we're gonna track whether we have the form.
So keep in mind that our guest network is more restricted than any other access that a student would have.
I don't have a problem, but the way I read it, and maybe this isn't how it is, but if you're under the age of 18, your parents have to give you permission to use the network.
Yes.
But
They have to, so if you're under the age of 18, the parent is signing off on the acceptable use, correct? That's what you have to do when you.
But what if they're not a student here? How are we policing users under the age of 18 when they come in for competitions and we're not?
So if somebody's coming in for a competition, say robotics, there's basically a set passcode the IT department provides to whoever's supervising that competition. So anybody that wanted to access our network, even as a guest, there's a limited number of those. So so that passcode is only distributed to a certain number of people that request access.
Okay, well, that has not been my experience at particularly like basketball games when I bring my nieces and nephews who are under 18, they can just sign in by the same way I sign in to a guest network.
Okay.
So I don't know what other people, so I'm just wondering, this piece, or is it a problem because we're saying we're going to students and users under the age of 18? It's different if it's a student.
Because I feel like if we're talking about just students, then that acceptable use policy is this form that we have outlined here. So maybe we should put the acceptable use policy and just do students under the age of 18. I don't know what we would do about like a guest user.
Well, when you are a guest user here, I've had to do this. You have to put your first, your last name, and acknowledge, like, there's something you're acknowledging. So
Right.
I don't think
You're
it's
signing
anything
off
about-
on an acknowledgement.
Right.
Yeah,
But
and
a
you have to
14-year-old
put
could.
you just have to put in an email address.
We can find out.
Yeah.
I just
So,
don't.
yeah, it's hard to monitor.
I'm just saying the monitoring piece doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I agree when you have an event that particularly needs something more than just a guest wireless.
It's taking a really long time to connect. So
Yeah, it's not quick.
Right, and there's nothing.
So it's a secure internet portal.
Yes.
Terms of use, and I do have to accept it. I do not have to put my name though.
Oh.
But I do have to accept it. So. Thanks. Oh, never mind, yes I do.
Yeah.
I have to click accept and then I get to put in my name.
And then your name and your
And then you
email
have to
address.
register.
But it doesn't say you have to be.
It doesn't say that.
So we could change that prompt.
To say.
I mean, it would ask you, are you 18 or older? And someone could just say no, or someone could say yes, even though they're not 18 or older. I'm not sure.
Can't
What
we
would
just,
you like to do with this sentence?
can't we just use it for our students? But we can't really police that either.
Right.
No, but I mean, they could go to Walmart and McDonald's and hop on the Wi-Fi
Right,
anywhere,
exactly.
so.
Why don't we take it out? I just want to discuss, so I'm
We should at
like,
least take out required lieutenant signature. If we're not doing that.
I
So
feel
this
like.
is, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Allison.
no, you're fine. Go ahead.
I'm taking this as they're talking about the acceptable use agreement. Correct me if I'm wrong on this.
That's how I read it too,
And that
because we
any
talked
student
about
under
this.
the age of 18 has to have a parent's signature on that acceptable use form. So maybe your point, Alice, will, instead of saying this form, we specifically title that as the acceptable use policy.
instead of personally owned.
Well, it's still, because even, and I haven't looked at the accessible use policy prior to this meeting.
Right.
I believe it would address personal
Yes.
devices, so.
It's the one we sign off on.
Right.
Yeah. But then, that's just for students. Not users under the age of 18.
Right.
Yeah.
So we could clarify those things.
We could separate it. We could do one for students that have to fill out the acceptable use policy, and then we could just say guest users, other guest users need to fill out the, I'm not even sure what you would call that, I guess it's the,
Secure internet portal.
need to sign in through the secure internet portal. Just that way we have everything covered.
Yeah. I like that. I'm assuming it's so that you can then track what people are doing on your,
Mhm.
right? So I mean, that's.
Which is the purpose of this policy.
Exactly. So let's just say.
Yeah, I think we
what
just
we're
need to
doing.
separate it into students and then other users. Or other guest users. Because I am looking at the acceptable use policy and it's specific to students.
Perfect. We should go front.
Yeah.
Anyone else have anything else they want to add to that? Make Michael ready more.
What is that called, Judy, that when you go on as a
When
guest?
I look at the,
When you go on as a guest?
oh,
Oh, it's secure internet portal.
thank you.
Okay. And make those edits and move that to the board for first reading?
I think so.
Yeah.
You know that. And this one is the copyright complaints. This was the other one that I didn't have any other notes on. I think we can put that one to the board too.
No,
We don't have-
Oh, we don't need to? Oh, because there's no edits. Hang on. Ignore me, it's been a long day. Alright, and we'll move on to public access to district records. This looked very in keeping with the School Boards Association.
Right.
There are a couple of things that I feel like we may want to include. So up at the top, we actually talk about specific records. And just to make sure that we are covering all of our bases, I feel like we should probably say, district records, including but not limited to, if we're going to list things out that way.
Where we say records, minutes, documents, writings, letters,
Yep.
memoranda, and other written typed copies or developed.
Right. So including but not limited to just sort of covers the bases, in case we forgot something or, there becomes some other type of record that we are keeping copies of. The other thing that I would do, and I'm not entirely positive where to do it because, again, long day, but I would just, I feel like this is all pursuant to RSA 91A4, but I feel like we can just say somewhere in here in compliance or accordance with the right to know law, that's sort of the catalyst for this.
Oh, here we go. No fee or expense. Oh,
You want to start the policy off with that with line 3?
yeah, because this
Actually,
says,
that's not a bad idea.
yeah, the School Boards Association has the superintendent is hereby designated, what do I have to say this? The custodian of district records, which term shall have the same meaning as that of another. As that term is defined in the state's right to know law, RSA 91A, 1A. All of that, but you could pull some.
In accordance with,
Oh, yeah, in accordance with ours, at the end, the shaker maintained in accordance with 91, RSA.
with the right to know law. I think that's,
So do that in line 6 at the end.
Yes.
yeah,
Then it's in there.
just that way, again, we have some additional verbiage in there that just kind of makes it a little clearer.
One of the things that I want to look into as well, and I'll probably call Will at the School Boards Association, is to see if we can put some language in here. I haven't done that yet, regarding anonymous requests. I know that there are some districts and also some states that, anonymous requests are not something that you need to adhere to as a
Okay.
school district. So if you get an anonymous request, we're not pulling all these records for someone or some organization that we don't know who was requesting you. So my understanding is if you put it in a policy, you don't have to adhere to that RSA as
Can we just make
anonymous.
sure?
Yeah, I'll
I was gonna
confirm
say,
that.
just
So
double check.
if the School Board Association said that is correct, then I might add a line in there prior
Okay.
to going to the board.
An anonymous request meaning there's no name attached to it?
Correct.
So it's not like when we get, I know I forwarded you before, like a request from some entity from a different state. that's not anonymous, because that's an entity.
Yeah, and usually there's some sort of name attached to it.
Right.
Whether it's part of the email address or
Right.
somewhere within
Correct.
the request, even though it's an entity outside the school district.
Right.
But there are times that we don't even get that, it
Oh.
just being anonymous. Yeah,
Like a physical letter or something? Okay, interesting.
doesn't happen often, but it can.
Okay.
And they're seeing an uptick in 91A requests
Mhm.
from anonymous email addresses.
Okay. Didn't know that. Interesting. So that was what I wanted to add, I didn't know. Flying through this.
Can you talk a little bit about why our records requests are 7 lines long and the School Boards Association? I mean, aside
I can-
I'm assuming we have another, because it is, like, nonprofits have to have a records retention policy.
We have the
It's in
same
the-
policy, so.
It's in the rules and procedures. I went and looked at
Yeah, it's
problems.
just detailed.
Yeah.
That's why this was brief.
That's actually the only comment I have, is that the rules and procedures are a little bit difficult to read because there's no lines sort of delineating anything, and it, so if we could make it a little bit more of like a table, it might be a little bit easier to read, because I did have a little bit of a hard time with that when I went through it.
Is that Appendix EHBR, Records Retention Schedule?
So if you go into the policy section and you look up EHB, next to it, there is the, so you know how you click into the policy on the right-hand side, that column, that's the rules and procedures. There's another link over there.
So it's okay that it's not part of our policy?
So it is, because we refer to the rules and procedures. So for more detailed information regarding specific requests.
So then we should put that in the policy. Because right here, it just says, additionally, the superintendent shall develop procedures necessary, but we don't refer to where it is.
We can do that.
I'm just,
Well, I think here we should say that rules and procedures in line 7. In line 7,
yeah.
rules and procedures. And then what we've been doing more consistently now, when we're doing these policies, that we also have the code of the rules and procedures
Right.
down here.
I think that was the suggestion.
Yeah.
I'm trying to help. I'm trying to channel you, because I'm like, this is what
Good,
she's
yay.
gonna pick up.
Good, yay. One other question I had about the records is, how often are they reviewed? Like,
Which
are
records?
the records that we retain, so some of them are like a 7-year retention
Right.
period. Do we destroy them after 7 years? How often is it reviewed?
So we try to stick to this policy, the school, each building, the office staff review those records as well, according to this policy, and what we maintain at the SAU we review as well, so.
Yearly, I think is what she's asking.
I'm not gonna say annually, because quite honestly, I'm not sure.
And then do we destroy records that have,
Yes.
okay,
absolutely.
what is the destruction procedure like?
So we hire an outside organization to do our shredding. All of those records are brought to the SAU. We have 2 big bins, which don't necessarily contain all of the records for specific pickup, but we do have them on a monthly basis to
Like those big,
professionally shred those, yes.
those big blue locked whatevers,
Yeah,
and they just take them.
they take them.
Thank you.
So we have time, and we have Debbie here, since we were
Oh,
tabling
yeah.
this because
Oh,
all the questions
Debbie.
around the vending machines. And I suggested that we table that because Debbie runs our food service department. And
Okay.
have a better understanding of the vending machines and answer some questions,
Okay. Shoot.
such as the pencil dispenser that's considered
That's
a
not food service.
non-food vending machine, as it's titled here.
Yeah. I think that was supposed to say non-food service program vending machines.
Okay.
But if there's food in it, then unless it's the food service program, you can't sell food to compete with food service until after.
So if someone is purchasing something, how do you determine the time, I guess, that it's being purchased?
Well, the vending machines are not supposed to be turned on until 30 minutes after the end of the school day.
And so everything in that vending machine is
Nothing is
whoever-
available.
Right, but the school-sponsored organization, or the school organization,
Mhm.
how is that determined?
Who
How
gets-
is
Who
it?
gets the monies?
Art club, robotics club, basketball, drama?
So right now, the only things we have in there are the pencil machine in the middle school office.
Middle school, I was wrong, not the high school.
Correct. And the other ones are all food items, and those are run by the food service program. The only other thing that there might be is in the teacher's room, they have one, and that goes into like the Sunshine Fund for the school.
I guess we were trying to figure out why you couldn't buy water during the day from a vending machine.
You can if it's run by the food service program.
And you just said they're all.
And they're all run by the food service program. At the time the policy was originally written, there were clubs that had vending machines. So they could not be run, they couldn't be operated.
That makes
So then
sense now.
that
So, right.
needs to be adjusted as well.
Correct.
Okay,
Okay,
Okay.
so let's look at this wording again.
we were just,
Thank you, Debbie.
we just thought kids could buy vitamin water like
Anytime.
anytime.
As long as the food service program runs it, yes. Other than that, if it was the,
Right.
the seniors, then they'd be competing with food service, and we can't do that.
Right.
So do the non-food vending machines only start operating 30 minutes after the last school bell and stop at midnight?
So the only non-food vending machine we have is the pencil machine in the middle school, and I think that they don't even have it filled right now, I don't think.
Okay, so then
It
maybe we
could
should
run.
just take
How
out
about we
that
just take
time
this-
frame.
Because
Yeah.
we're thinking
Just take out
we
the
want
non-
them to be able to buy a pencil
Yes,
during the day.
yes.
We thought
that
after
felt,
school,
yeah,
like,
that felt maybe not right once we found out it was a pencil dispenser.
Right.
Not to mention, I'm not sure how many people are purchasing pencils.
I know.
Yeah, I don't think he's had it for a while.
How about if we just remove those lines altogether?
So there are no
Oh.
other non-food vending machines. Do drink machines fall under food vending machines or not?
They would,
Okay,
but students are not supposed to be able to purchase anything. They're not supposed to go into the teacher's room, so they shouldn't be able to purchase anything from those vending machines.
right. Okay. So then, if the non-food vending machine is not operational, we might not need it in the policy?
Right.
Let's scrap it.
So should we scrap 14 through 17?
Office drive, such operations.
We already have 11 through 13 is the employee lounge.
Yeah, then you can strike that whole thing because we don't have it. I mean, if we had a request in the future for a vending machine, we'd have to come back and address that.
But are students allowed to buy things from, are the vending machines operational during the day?
Yes.
If we had a,
Right, but currently, because they're all food service operated.
yes,
So can they buy them right now?
yes.
Okay, then we can, I think.
Yeah.
Do away with 14 to 17 as well. Okay. I think we got there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Debbie.
Yes,
You're welcome.
Debbie?
I think that was it.
That is.
All right.